The scanner beeped 3 times, looked up from her cold cup of coffee and stared at the screen. In 12 years of salvage work, she had learned to trust that sound. 3 beeps meant something big. 3 beeps meant money. She pushed herself out of the worn pilot chair and walked to the main console. The steady hand was a small ship, barely 50 meters long, but it was home. Her father Sung had built it with his own hands before she was born. Now it belonged to her, along with all its problems and all its memories. The scanner showed a ship drifting in the darkness ahead. No power, no movement, no life signs, just a dead hulk floating through empty space like a forgotten dream. Zoomed in on the image and frowned. The ship was strange. Its hull was not made of metal like normal vessels. It looked almost organic, like the shell of some giant sea creature mixed with machine parts. Curves and angles blended together in ways that made her eyes hurt if she looked too long. She checked the database. Nothing matched. No record existed of any ship like this in human or alien files. That meant it was either very old or very secret. Either way, it was valuable. Most salvagers would call for backup. Most salvagers would report the find and wait for a corporate team, but worked alone. She had learned long ago that sharing meant losing. The big companies took everything and left scraps for people like her. She guided the steady hand closer to the derelict. As she approached, she noticed something else strange. The ship was not completely dead. Deep inside its twisted hull, a faint light pulsed. It was weak, barely visible, like a dying heartbeat. Docked her ship against what looked like an airlock. The connection was rough, but it held. She put on her environment suit, checked her oxygen levels, and grabbed her tool bag. Then she stepped into the unknown. The inside of the derelict was dark and cold. Her flashlight cut through the blackness, revealing walls that seemed to breathe. They were not metal. They were something else. Something that felt alive even though it should not be. She walked slowly, her boots making soft sounds on the strange floor. The air in her suit smelled of recycled oxygen, but she imagined she could sense something else. Something old and tired and sad. The deeper she went, the stronger the pulsing light became. It led her through twisted corridors and empty chambers until she reached the center of the ship. There, she found the source. A massive crystal hung in the middle of a round room. It was the size of a small car, and it glowed with a soft blue light. Cables and tubes connected it to the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Everything in the ship seemed to flow from this one point. Understood then, this was not just a ship. The crystal was its heart. The ship itself was alive or had been alive once. It was a being, not a machine, and it was dying. She should have left. She should have gone back to the steady hand and called the authorities. A living ship was beyond anything she knew how to handle. It was dangerous. It was unknown. It was not her problem. But thought of her father. He had taught her to fix things, not break them. He had taught her that every machine had a soul if you looked hard enough. He would not have left this creature to die alone in the dark. She knelt beside the crystal and opened her tool bag. The damage was severe. Whoever had attacked this ship had tried to kill it completely. Power lines were cut. Systems were broken. The crystal itself had cracks running through its surface. Began to work. She had no idea if her tools would help, but she had to try. She reconnected wires. She patched holes. She used her own ship's power cells to feed energy into the dying heart. Hours passed. Her oxygen ran low. She had to return to the steady hand twice to refill her tanks. But she did not give up. She could not give up. Something about this ship called to her in a way she could not explain. Finally, after what felt like forever, the crystal's light grew stronger. The pulse became steadier. The ship was not healed, but it was no longer dying. Then something happened that made freeze. A voice spoke inside her head. It was not sound. It was thought, pure and direct, pressing against her mind like a whisper from the stars. "Why do you not harvest me?" Stood still. Her heart pounded in her chest. She had heard stories of telepathic aliens, but she had never met one. She did not know how to respond. The voice came again, weaker this time. Others came before, they cut, they took, they left me to drift. Why are you different? Swallowed hard. She did not know if her thoughts would reach the ship, but she tried anyway. She pictured her father's face. She remembered his words about treating machines with respect. She felt her own loneliness, her years of working alone among the stars. Because I know what it feels like to be broken, she thought, and nobody should die alone. The ship was silent for a long moment. Then the blue light flickered and felt something she had not expected. Gratitude, pure, overwhelming gratitude flowing from the crystal into her mind. I am called many things, the voice said, but I no longer remember my true name. I have drifted for so long. Looked at the crystal. She thought of her father again, of the stories he told her about the stars. One star had always been his favorite. He said it reminded him of hope. I will call you Vila, she said out loud, after a star my father loved. The ship seemed to consider this. The light pulsed gently, like a slow breath. Vila, the voice repeated. Yes, I will be Vila. And you, human who fixes instead of breaks, who are you? My name is, and I am going to help you, Vila. I do not know how yet, but I promise I will find a way. The light grew slightly brighter. For the first time in 3,000 years, the ancient ship felt something it had forgotten existed. Hope. 3 weeks passed since found Vila drifting in the darkness. 3 weeks of hard work, little sleep, and conversations that happened without words. She had tethered the living ship to the steady hand and moved both vessels to a quiet corner of space where no one would find them. Every day, climbed into Vila's hull and worked on repairs. Every day, she learned something new about the strange creature she had saved. Vila was old, older than human civilization, older than most of the alien species that now traveled the stars. The ship had been built by beings called the Architects, a race that vanished long before anyone could remember them. They had created living vessels to explore the galaxy, ships that could think and feel and grow. We were their children, Vila told one evening. The ship's voice was stronger now, clearer in her mind. They made us to be curious, to seek, to learn, but then they disappeared and we were left alone. Sat on the floor of Vila's central chamber, eating a protein bar. The crystal heart above her pulsed with steady light. It was almost peaceful here, surrounded by walls that breathed and hummed with slow life. What happened to the others, she asked, the other ships like you? Vila's light dimmed slightly. Most were destroyed. The galaxy is not kind to things it does not understand. Species found us and feared us. They hunted us. They tore us apart to study our secrets. I survived only because I was small. I hid. I drifted. For 3,000 years. Time loses meaning when you are alone. I slept mostly, dreamed of the architects, waited for death that never came. Finished her protein bar and stood up. She had more work to do. Vila's power systems were badly damaged, and she needed parts that she did not have. I need to visit Outpost Gamma 7, she said. There is a man there named Dong. He runs the station. He was friends with my father. He can get me the parts I need. Vila's concern flowed through her mind. Is it safe if others learn about me? I will not tell anyone about you, promised. I will say the parts are for my own ship. Dong will not ask too many questions. He trusts me. The journey to Gamma 7 took 2 days. Left Vila hidden in the asteroid field, wrapped in sensor-blocking material that made the living ship invisible to scanners. It was not perfect protection, but it was better than nothing. Outpost Gamma 7 was a busy place. Ships came and went at all hours, carrying cargo and passengers across the sector. The station itself was old and worn, held together by patches and prayers, but it was home to thousands of people who had nowhere else to go. Dong met at the docking bay. He was a big man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had known her father for 20 years before Sung passed away. Now he watched over like an uncle, always ready to help when she needed it. "Little Star," he said, using the nickname her father had given her. "It has been too long. What brings you to my station?" "I need parts," said, "power converters, organic interface cables, bioreactive sealant." Dong raised his eyebrows. "Those are strange things. What are you working on?" "A project, something I found drifting." He studied her face for a moment, kept her expression calm. She hated lying to him, but she could not risk Vila's safety. "All right," Dong finally said. "I will not ask more, but be careful, little star. The galaxy is full of people who take from those who find things." He led her to the station supply depot, where she gathered everything she needed. The cost was high, almost all her savings, but did not care. Some things were worth more than money. As she was loading the supplies onto a transport cart, a young man approached her. He was tall and thin, with quick eyes and nervous hands. "You are the salvager, yes?" he asked. "I have heard of you." Looked at him carefully. "Who are you?" "My name is One. I am a trader here. I deal in rare items, unusual things." He glanced around to make sure no one was listening. "I heard you were buying organic interface cables. Those are hard to find, expensive, usually only used for one thing." His heart beat faster. "I do not know what you mean." One smiled slightly. "Relax. I am not here to cause trouble. I just want you to know that if you need help, I can provide it. For the right price, of course." "I do not need help." "Everyone needs help eventually." He handed her a small card with a communication code on it. "Keep this. Call me if you change your mind." He walked away before could respond. She looked at the card for a moment, then put it in her pocket. She did not trust One, but she was not foolish enough to throw away a possible ally. The journey back to Vila took another 2 days. When arrived, she felt the ship's relief wash over her like warm water. Vila had been afraid she would not return. "I told you I would come back," said as she began unloading the supplies. "I keep my promises." "Others made promises too," Vila replied. "Long ago they broke them." Paused in her work. "What happened?" The ship was quiet for a moment. Then images flowed into his mind. She saw a beautiful world covered in crystal towers. She saw the architects, tall beings with silver skin and eyes like stars. She saw them building ships like Vila, giving them life and purpose. Then she saw the end. A great darkness spreading across the galaxy, the architects fleeing into the unknown. Ships like Vila left behind, scattered across space like seeds thrown into the wind. "They said they would return," Vila whispered. "They never did." Felt tears on her cheeks. She did not know why she was crying. The architects were strangers to her, gone long before humans existed. But Vila's pain was real, and she felt it as if it were her own. "I am sorry," she said. "I cannot bring them back, but I am here now. I will not leave you." The crystal heart pulsed brighter. "I believe you," Vila said. "I do not know why, but I believe you." They worked together through the night, installed the new parts while Vila guided her, showing her where to connect cables and how to seal damaged areas. It was strange, working on a patient that could talk back, but it was also wonderful. By morning, Vila was stronger. Not healed, not completely, but better than before. The ship could now maintain its own life support. It could think more clearly. It could remember things it had forgotten. "I must warn you," Vila said as prepared to sleep. "Others are searching for architect technology. They have been searching for centuries. If they find me." "Then we will hide," said firmly. "We will run. We will do whatever it takes to keep you safe." "Why?" Vila asked. "Why do you care so much about something you just met?" Thought about her father. She thought about all the broken machines she had fixed over the years. She thought about the loneliness of space and the comfort of having someone to talk to. "Because everyone deserves a chance to live," she said. "Even ancient starships who talk in my head." Vila's light flickered with something that might have been laughter. "You are a strange human." "I know," smiled. "Now let me sleep. Tomorrow we have more work to do." But tomorrow would bring more than work. Tomorrow would bring danger closer than either of them knew. The warning came at midnight. Was sleeping in her cabin on the steady hand when Vila's voice cut through her dreams like a cold knife. "They are here, wake up, they are here." Jumped out of bed and ran to the cockpit. Through the viewport she could see lights in the distance. Ships, many ships. They moved in formation, scanning the asteroid field with powerful sensors. "Who are they?" asked, her hands already moving across the control panel. "Dominion," Vila replied. The fear in the ship's voice was clear. "They have hunted architect technology for centuries. They found my energy signature. They are coming." Felt her stomach drop. She had heard of everyone had. They were conquerors, rulers of a vast empire that stretched across 100 star systems. They took what they wanted and destroyed what they could not take. She activated the steady hands engines and began moving toward Vila. The living ship was still hidden among the asteroids, but that would not last long. The scanners were the best in the galaxy. "Can you move?" asked. "Can you fly?" "No, I am too weak. My engines are still damaged." "Then I will tow you. We will escape together." "You cannot. Your ship is too small. The strain will tear it apart." Gritted her teeth. "Then I need help." She pulled out the card one had given her and made the call. The young trader answered on the second ring, his face appearing on her screen. Behind him, she could see the busy interior of Outpost Gamma 7. "It is the middle of the night. What?" "I need help, right now. I need ships. I need engines. I need people who can fly and are not afraid of the—" One's eyes went wide. What have you gotten yourself into?" "Something important. Something worth risking everything for. Can you help me or not?" There was a long pause. One looked at something off-screen, then back at. "There is a man here, a pilot named Wu. He owes me favors and he hates them more than anyone I know. He has a fast ship with strong engines. Get him, get anyone else you can find. Meet me at these coordinates." Sent the location. "Hurry, we do not have much time." She cut the communication and flew the steady hand toward Vila. The fleet was getting closer. She could count at least 10 ships now, all of them larger and more powerful than anything she had. At the center of the fleet was a massive warship, its hull covered in weapons and armor. That would be the flagship, commanded by whoever led this hunting party. Docked with Vila and ran inside. The living ship's heart was pulsing rapidly, filled with fear. She placed her hand against the crystal, trying to send calm through their connection. "Help is coming," she said. "We just need to hold on a little longer." "They will destroy you," Vila said. "You should leave, save yourself. I'm not worth your life." "Stop that. You are worth everything. Now help me figure out how to move you." They worked together quickly, disconnected non-essential systems to reduce power drain. Vila showed her how to activate emergency thrusters that might provide some movement. It was not enough, but it was something. An hour later, 2 ships appeared on the scanner. One was a sleek cargo vessel, fast and light. The other was older, heavier, with engine modifications that made it look like a racing ship built by someone who did not care about safety. "This is one," came a voice over the radio. "We are here. What exactly are we getting into?" Explained quickly. She told them about Vila, about everything. When she finished, there was silence on the channel. Then a new voice spoke. It was rough and deep, the voice of someone who had seen too many battles. "This is Wu. I spent 15 years fighting the before they burned my. If you say this living ship is worth saving, then I believe you. Tell me what to do." Relief flooded through. "We need to tow Vila out of here. Your ship has the strongest engines. Can you handle the weight?" "I can handle anything. Just show me where to connect." They worked fast. Wu's ship attached to Vila's rear section while one's vessel connected to the front. The steady hand would provide additional power from the side. Together, they might have enough force to move the living ship to safety. But they were faster. A cold voice cut through all communications. "Attention salvage vessels. This is Commander Riss of the Dominion. You are in possession of property that belongs to us. Surrender immediately and you will be allowed to live." Grabbed her radio. "This property does not belong to you. It does not belong to anyone. It is a living being and we will not let you hurt it." There was laughter on the other end. A living being? How touching. The humans and their foolish emotions. "Very well, if you will not surrender, you will die. It makes no difference to me." The fleet began to move. Weapons powered up. Scanner beams swept across the asteroid field, locking onto their position. "Go," shouted, "full power now." All three ships fired their engines at once. The cables connecting them to Vila went tight. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. The living ship was too heavy. They were not strong enough. Then Vila did something unexpected. Deep inside the ancient vessel, systems that had been dormant began to wake. The crystal heart blazed with light. Power flowed through damaged circuits, forcing broken engines to fire. "I will not let you die for me," Vila said in all their minds at once. "Not like the others, not again." The combined force of 4 ships pushed them forward. They shot through the asteroid field at dangerous speed, dodging rocks and debris. Behind them, they opened fire. Explosions lit up the darkness. Asteroids shattered into fragments. The steady hand's hull groaned under the stress of the maneuver. "Faster," Wu shouted. "There is a jump point ahead if we can reach it." "We will reach it," said. "We have to." They flew like people possessed. One ship took a hit on the rear shields but kept going. Wu's engine screamed with effort but did not fail. The steady hand held together through sheer stubbornness and luck. The jump point appeared ahead, a shimmer in space where normal physics broke down. 1 second they were there. The next second they were gone, vanished into the strange dimension where faster-than-light travel was possible. They could not follow. Jump points were unpredictable. Without knowing the destination, any pursuit would be suicide. They emerged in a quiet nebula, far from any inhabited system. Purple and gold clouds of gas surrounded them, hiding them from any scanner. For now, they were safe. Collapsed in her chair, breathing hard, they had made it. Against all odds, they had escaped. "Thank you," Vila's voice came weakly. "All of you. I do not understand why you risked so much for me, but thank you." Wu's response came over the radio. "Do not thank us yet. Do not give up easily. They will keep hunting." "Then we will keep running," said, "until Vila is strong enough to fight back, or until we find somewhere they can never reach." One laughed nervously. "You make it sound so simple." "It is not simple," admitted, "but it is right, and sometimes that is enough." In the purple glow of the nebula, 4 ships drifted together. 3 humans and 1 ancient alien vessel, bound together by choice and chance. They did not know what the future would bring. But they knew they would face it together. The escape had cost them everything. Stood inside Vila's central chamber, watching the crystal heart flicker with dying light. The effort of helping them flee had drained the last of the ship's reserves. Now Vila was fatting, and there was nothing any of them could do. "How long?" asked quietly. "Hours," Vila replied. The voice in her mind was barely a whisper now. "Perhaps less. I am sorry. I should not have pushed so hard, but I could not watch you die." "Do not apologize. You saved us." "And now I will leave you." There was deep sadness in the ship's thoughts. "After all your kindness, after everything you gave up for me, I will still die alone." Shook her head. "No, there has to be a way. There is always a way." She went back to the steady hand and gathered Wu and One. They sat together in the small cargo bay, surrounded by the smell of burned circuits and exhausted bodies. "Vila is dying," told them. "The crystal heart needs energy, more energy than any of our ships can provide." One ran his hands through his hair. What kind of energy? Electrical, thermal? There must be something we can try. Organic energy, Vila's voice touched all their minds. The architects designed us to bond with living beings. Their life force powered our hearts, but they are gone, and no other species has ever been compatible. Wu frowned. What about humans? Humans are young, untested. The process would be dangerous, painful. It could kill anyone who tried. Stood up. How does it work? What would I have to do? No one started. Tell me, she said to Vila. Tell me exactly what I would have to do. The ship hesitated. Then images flowed into her mind. She saw the core chamber deep inside Vila's body. She saw the crystal heart connected to a smaller crystal, a conduit designed for organic connection. She saw what would happen if she touched it. The conduit would draw on her bioelectric energy. Her life force would flow into Vila, restarting the dying heart. The process would feel like being burned from the inside. It might stop her heart. It might destroy her mind. There was no guarantee she would survive. The architects were strong, Vila said. Their bodies could handle the strain. Humans are fragile. I cannot ask you to do this. You are not asking, I am choosing. Wu grabbed her arm. Think about this. We can find another way, we can. There is no time. Looked at him with calm eyes. They are still out there. They will find us eventually. If Vila dies, everything we did was for nothing. I will not let that happen. But you could die. I could, but at least it would mean something. She smiled sadly. My father always said that fixing things was the most important work in the universe. This is my chance to fix something that really matters. One looked away, his eyes wet. Wu said nothing, but his grip on her arm loosened. They understood. They did not like it, but they understood. Put on her environment suit and walked back into Vila. The ship tried to stop her, sending waves of concern and fear through their connection. She pushed through them gently. Trust me, she said, like I trusted you. The core chamber was deep inside Vila's body, past corridors that grew narrower and stranger the further she went. The walls here were warm to the touch. The air in her suit showed warnings about radiation and toxic gases. Her suit could protect her for maybe 30 minutes. She would have to work fast. The crystal heart hung above her, barely glowing. Below it she found the conduit Vila had shown her. It was a small crystal, the size of her fist, connected to the main heart by threads of light. It pulsed weakly, waiting. Are you sure? Vila asked one last time. There is still time to turn back. I have never been more sure of anything. Took off her glove. Her bare hand trembled slightly. Thank you, Vila, for trusting me, for letting me help. Thank you for seeing me as something worth saving. She touched the conduit. Pain exploded through her body. It was worse than anything she had ever felt. Worse than the time she broke her leg in a mining accident. Worse than the fever that nearly killed her as a child. It was fire and ice and lightning all at once, tearing through every nerve and cell. She screamed but did not let go. Energy flowed out of her and into the crystal. She could feel her life force draining away, pouring into the ancient heart like water into an empty vessel. Her vision went white. Her thoughts scattered like leaves in a storm. But somewhere in the chaos she felt Vila. The ship was there with her, wrapping around her consciousness like a warm blanket. The pain did not disappear, but it became bearable, shared. They were facing it together. Hold on, Vila said. Just a little longer, please hold on. Held on. She thought of her father teaching her to fix engines. She thought of Dong calling her little star. She thought of one's nervous smile and Wu's rough kindness. She thought of all the reasons she had to live. And then it was over. The crystal heart blazed with brilliant blue light. Power surged through Vila's body, repairing damage that had lasted for. Systems came online. Engines powered up. The walls around glowed with warmth and life. She collapsed on the floor, barely conscious. Her heart was still beating, but it felt weak and slow. Her body had given almost everything it had. Gentle warmth surrounded her. Vila's walls shifted, creating a soft surface beneath her. Clean air flowed into her helmet. The ship was caring for her now, returning some of the energy she had given. "You did it," Vila said. Wonder filled the ship's voice. "You actually did it. No one has ever survived the bonding process except the architects themselves." "Does this mean I am special?" Managed to smile weakly. "It means you are remarkable. It means you have a strength that even the architects would admire." Wu's voice crackled over her radio. "Are you all right? The sensors are going crazy. The ship is transforming." She looked around. He was right. The walls were changing, becoming stronger and more beautiful. Cracks sealed themselves. Damaged sections rebuilt from nothing. Vila was healing at incredible speed. "I am all right," she said. "Tired, but all right." "More than all right," Vila added. "We are bonded now, truly bonded. I can feel your thoughts, your emotions. We are connected in a way that will never break." Felt it too. There was a new presence in her mind, warm and constant. Vila was no longer just a ship she was trying to save. Vila was part of her now, a partner, a friend, a piece of her soul that would always be there. "Partners," she whispered. "Partners," Vila agreed. Outside, One and Wu watched in amazement as the ancient vessel transformed. The twisted, damaged hull became sleek and powerful. New systems emerged from nothing. The dying ship was now more alive than it had been in 3,000 years. "What just happened?" One asked, his voice full of wonder. Wu shook his head slowly. "I think a human just did the impossible, again." Inside, Vila slowly sat up. She was exhausted, but she was also filled with a strange new strength. She could feel Vila's power flowing through their bond, supporting her, healing her. "There is something else," Vila said. "Something I remembered during the bonding. The architects left something behind. A message for whoever proved worthy of awakening their ships." "What kind of message?" "I do not know yet, but I know where to find it. Will you come with me, partner?" Laughed softly. After everything that had happened, there was only one answer she could give. "Always." The architect vault was hidden on a moon at the edge of the galaxy. No star maps showed its location. No species had visited it in thousands of years. Only Vila knew the way, and now Vila was ready to share that knowledge. They traveled for 3 weeks through empty space, spent the time learning to understand her new bond with Vila. She could feel the ship's emotions now, sense its thoughts and memories. In return, Vila experienced the universe through her human eyes. "The stars look different to you," Vila said one evening as stood at a viewport. "You see beauty where I see only distance." "Maybe that is why humans explore," replied. "We cannot help looking at the unknown and wanting to find something wonderful there." Wu and One followed in their own ships. They had become part of this journey now, bound together by the danger they had faced. Was grateful for their presence. Even with Vila as her constant companion, she needed human friends too. The moon appeared without warning, hidden behind a massive gas giant. Its surface was smooth and silver, covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift when looked at directly. At the center of the moon was a door, vast and ancient, waiting to be opened. They landed near the entrance, stepped onto the silver ground and felt a hum of energy beneath her feet. This whole place was alive with architect technology, dormant but not dead. "Who approaches the vault of the architects?" The voice came from everywhere at once. It was not like Vila's telepathic touch. This was sound, but sound that carried the weight of ages. "My name is," she called out. "I come with Vila, one of the architect's ships. We seek the message left for those who prove worthy." "Many have sought worthiness," the voice replied. "None have achieved it. What makes you different, small human?" Before could answer, another voice cut through the silence, cold and angry and terribly familiar. "She is nothing, a thief and a criminal. Surrender the architect's ship, and perhaps I will let you die quickly." Commander Riss walked out from behind a nearby rock formation. Behind her stood a squad of soldiers, their weapons pointed at and her friends. They must have followed somehow, tracked Vila's energy signature across the void. "How did you find us?" demanded. Riss smiled coldly. "They have been searching for this place for 500 years. When your little ship suddenly came back to life, it sent a signal across the galaxy. We simply followed." Wu and one moved to stand beside, their hands on their weapons, but they were outnumbered 10-1. Fighting would be suicide. "You cannot have," Vila said. "You cannot have any of this. You do not understand what the architects built. You only want to use it as a weapon." "Of course I want weapons," Riss laughed. "That is what power is for. The strong take from the weak. That is the law of the universe." "No," shook her head. "That is the law of the, but you do not speak for the universe." The ancient voice spoke again. "This one speaks truth. Step forward, both of you. Let the keeper judge your worth." The silver door opened. Light poured out, golden and warm. Riss pushed past and marched inside, her soldiers following close behind, had no choice but to follow. The interior of the vault was enormous. Crystal columns stretched up toward a ceiling that seemed to be made of stars. At the center of the chamber stood a figure made of light. It was tall and slender, shaped like the architects had seen in Vila's memories. "I am the keeper," the figure said. "I guard the legacy of those who created me. For 3,000 years I have waited for someone worthy to inherit their gifts. Today I will judge between you." Riss stepped forward confidently. "The Dominion has conquered 100 worlds. We have built an empire that spans the stars. Who could be more worthy than us?" The keeper turned its glowing eyes toward her. "You speak of conquest, of taking, of destruction. Show me what you have created. Show me what you have healed. Show me what you have given to others without expecting anything in return." Riss opened her mouth, then closed it. She had no answer. The keeper looked at, "And you, small human, what do you offer?" Thought carefully, she had nothing to show. No empire, no army, no great achievements that the galaxy would remember. Then Vila's voice touched her mind. "Show the keeper what you showed me. Show them who you really are." Reached out through her bond with Vila. Images flowed from her memories into the crystal chamber. The keeper saw everything. It saw as a child, learning to fix broken machines with her father. It saw her years of lonely work among the stars, always choosing to repair instead of destroy. It saw her finding Vila and choosing to help instead of harvest. It saw her giving her own life force to save an ancient being she had just met. It saw her friends risking everything to help someone who was different from them. It saw humans at their best, compassionate and brave and stubbornly hopeful. "Interesting," the keeper said when the images faded. "The young species shows wisdom that the old one lacks. The small creature has a larger heart than the conqueror." Riss's face twisted with fury. "This is ridiculous. We are the most powerful species in this sector. We deserve." "Deserve?" The keeper's voice grew cold. "You deserve nothing. Worthiness is not claimed. It is proven, through action, through sacrifice, through the choice to help others when it would be easier to help yourself." The keeper raised its hand. Light surrounded Riss and her soldiers, lifting them off the ground. "Wait," shouted, "do not hurt them." The keeper paused. "They came here to take, to destroy, to enslave. You would show them mercy." "Yes," stepped forward. "Because that is what being worthy means. It means being better than your enemies, even when they do not deserve it. Kill them and we become like them. Let them go and maybe someday they will understand." For a long moment no one moved. Then the keeper slowly lowered its hand. The soldiers fell to the ground, unharmed but confused. "You continue to surprise me, human." The keeper almost sounded amused. "Very well. They will be returned to their territory with no memory of this location, but they will remember this lesson. Sometimes mercy is the greatest weapon of all. Riss screamed in rage as light surrounded her again. Then she and her soldiers vanished, transported across space by technology beyond understanding. The Keeper turned back too. "You have proven yourself worthy, child of Earth. The legacy of the architects is now yours to share with your species." Crystal columns began to glow. Information flowed through the chamber, thousands of years of knowledge becoming available. Medicine that could cure diseases thought incurable. Engineering that could build wonders. Philosophy that could bring peace to warring nations. "Use it wisely," the Keeper said. "The architects hoped that someday a worthy species would arise to continue their work. We never expected it would be one so young, so fragile, so full of contradictions. But perhaps that is exactly why you succeeded. You do not know what is impossible, so you do it anyway." Felt tears running down her face. She thought of her father, who had always believed that fixing things was the most important work in the universe. She wished he could see this moment. "I accept," she said. "Not just for me, for all of humanity. We will try to be worthy of this gift." That is all any of us can do. The Keeper's form began to fade. Try, learn, grow, and never stop believing that kindness is stronger than cruelty. Farewell of Earth. The future is in your hands now. The light faded. The Keeper was gone, but the knowledge remained, stored in crystals that would take years to fully understand. Wu and One stood in stunned silence. They had witnessed something that would change the galaxy forever. "What now?" One finally asked. Looked at Vila's walls, glowing with warmth and life. She felt her partner's presence in her mind, full of hope and excitement. "Now we go home," she said, "and we share what we have learned, not as conquerors, not as rulers, just as humans doing what we do best." "What is that?" Wu asked. Smiled, "Fixing things, helping people, making the universe a little better than we found it." They walked back to their ships together. Outside, the stars waited, countless and beautiful. There was so much work to do, so many worlds to visit, so many species to meet. The galaxy had always measured worth in power. But today, a human mechanic and her living ship had taught it something new. True worth was measured in kindness, and humanity had kindness to spare. The future was bright, and it was just beginning.